Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you don't know who I am, my name is Darren Rios. I'm a personal strategist, creative consultant, and life coach, kind of all three in one. And I get on here to just do open Q&As and have good discussions, conversations, hopefully. And so if you guys have any questions in regards to fucking life, career, personal relationships, whatever, if you just need some sort of guidance or clarity, I don't know shit, but I'll say something. So feel free. Let's get into it. Should I become a life coach? Do you want to? And why do you want to? I think a lot of people get into life coaching because they think it's about they hide behind this mask of I like to empower people. But in reality, they like to empower themselves by trying to act like they are superior to another human being and they can give them advice or it's not, don't do it. And so that's not everybody, there are people that I know that are life coaches that I have worked with their clients after them where they're like, it was a complete waste of money. They didn't know what they were doing. I felt like I was talking to a robot. They had no relatable experience. And so it just sounded like they just wanted to be a life coach because it sounds like easy money. So I like listening to people. So that's the thing. It's like you like to listen to people and being there for them. That's cool. And helping them. However, liking to listen to people and knowing how to listen to people are two very different things. And what I mean by that is it takes a level of life experience to be able to truly hear what people are saying when they're talking. And so if you don't have that experience, you approach situations with naivety, whatever you want to, or however you pronounce it, and you miss opportunity. And so what happens is when somebody's talking, you're hearing what they're saying, but you're not, or you're listening to what they're saying, but you're not hearing what they're saying. And so in order to do that, an individual must come to a certain level of terms with themselves that they can hear things that aren't being said, but are being translated or communicated. And so in coaching, if you want to be a coach, and these are skills that you develop as you do this. And so at first, you're just kind of navigating how to really hear people and seeing if you're actually hearing them based off of their feedback, right? And so what I would say, if you want to be a life coach, go out and coach 5 people or more for free for a short period of time. Say 1 month, right? Do this with 5 people and get feedback to know whether you're actually effective or not. And so if you can do that and you really feel like you got something and you're not burnt out or whatever, or you're not just trying to save people, then maybe you should get into it. They say you'd be great. Yeah, so look into it, and you can take a cheap online course, at your own pace on how to be a life coach or whatever. And you can do it, and you can, take what you want from it, and that's it. How do you become one? I would say take a course first, and then you just start telling people what you do. And the reason I say take a course is because it'll show you the basics, and then you can riff from there. Stephanie, you're very welcome. Thank you. Appreciate you. How do you become one? Yeah. So like I said before, being a good listener isn't always the same as knowing how to hear what people are saying. The worst part of being a life coach, just the admin stuff. I hate handling any financial stuff or any of the admin stuff. I hate it. Self-promotion, I hate it. But I understand that I have to do it. And there's nothing wrong with promoting yourself. What brought you to this? So I spent many years working in the entertainment industry, and I worked with a lot of celebrities, and I worked with really big brands. And I got to have conversations with these celebrities and see a side of them that made me realize that what I have inside of me, like the things that were being said and perspectives that were being shared, like I knew that I could answer that. I knew that I had something in me that could address those problems in these particular people's lives. I had a particular insight that I gained at a very early age because of all the shit that I've been through and trauma that I've experienced and just wild shit. So like hearing these people that you think have it all together, not necessarily that they don't have things together, they're bad people. No, it's just like seeing the gap from that space is like, why am I behind the camera? Why am I behind the scenes? And so what led me to start coaching and consulting. And so I work with high level executives and creatives and people who have, they're very successful. I mean, I also work with people who aren't as successful, but just to a different degree. And what I've learned is like, that's where I want to be, right? And so at the time I was hiding behind my camera, I was hiding behind the scenes. I was just kind of like, and then I'm an artist as well, so I was kind of doing my own art stuff. And I just realized, I was like, I hit a huge lull in my career and I wasn't getting any work and things were slowing down in the entertainment world. And then COVID hit. And then on top of that, I was in a bad relationship that I shouldn't have been in. And like, it was a lot. And so I got to a point where I was like, what the fuck do I want to do with my life? And when I look back on my experience, I was like, those are the gaps that I saw in working with these individuals, that I was like, but what would that role be? It was like a life coach. And that name has a weird fucking ring to it. Life coach. It sounds corny as fuck and it sounds washed up and like scammy, to be honest. But I didn't know what the fuck else to call it. So I was like, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. So right now I just call myself a personal strategist. I work with people, individuals, on their personal life strategies. Cool, you're in a relationship and you're stuck and you don't know how to get out, you don't know how to communicate. Cool, I'll help you strategize. I'll help you figure out what you can and cannot do. Right? If you're in a career situation where you're super successful and you're just facing kind of some decisions that you need a perspective on, I can help that. I can help with that. Right? And creatively and individually, a lot of people that I work with, it's a lot of individual identity where it's like, I have everything in the world. However, here's where I'm struggling. And so at the end of the day, to answer your question, I realized that's what I wanted to do. And just like everything else I've done in my career professionally, as a painter, photographer, fashion designer, graphic designer, music producer and engineer, and even music artist. I've done quite a lot of things in my life. I can help people find that particular thing. And what I was saying is like, I knew that all I had to do is, this is what I do now, and move into that and start doing that and showing up as that. And then people would start to take you serious because you're doing it. So that was my journey. And if you guys want to know information about me, if you want to apply to work with me and see what I have to offer, click the link in my bio. Everything is right there. If you guys haven't, I talk a lot about mindset and limiting beliefs and belief systems and how they shape our reality, and how most of us aren't conscious of our beliefs. And that's why we keep repeating the past. But you can change that. And so this was a huge shift in my personal life and career, understanding this principle, this truth of belief systems. And it's an ongoing work, obviously, but the ebook that I wrote, it's called The Inner Alchemist, and it talks all about this. So if you're somebody who's actually serious about making changes in your life and you can't quite figure out why can't I make this change? Why do I have this particular issue? the world is against me, God hates me, whatever. No, God doesn't hate you and the world is not against you. It might not be structured for your success. However, it's not against you. You have belief systems that are holding you back, that lay dormant in your subconscious mind that you're not aware of. If you don't believe me, I bet you didn't even notice your nose in front of your face until I mentioned it. Or how about the fact that you're blinking right now? You see what I'm saying here? You're not aware of these things unless I said something. Now you're crazily aware, and all you can think about is how many times you fucking blinked in the past 10 seconds. What about breathing? Same shit. These things are subconscious. They're happening without you even realizing it. These are not the only things that are happening in our lives that we don't realize are happening. There's way more going on. And so this ebook that I wrote, which is only $5, it's 9 chapters, 9 short chapters, easy read, but very hard to apply. But if you do, it'll change your life. I guarantee it. I'll give you your fucking $5 back. I don't know. There's no way to gauge it. But if you're not aware of these beliefs, you keep repeating history, calling it fate. Maybe to a deficit. I know. You just have to. Here's what I do when people do that shit. Like, oh, you're blinking. I'm like, fuck. No, I'm blinking. No, I can't stop blinking. Fuck. I just recognize that I'm hyper aware of it, and I laugh about it, and then I just start thinking about something else. I don't know. Let it go. This takes practice, though. I struggled with a pretty mild but very annoying case of OCD, to the point where it was like it would take me just 15 minutes to actually leave my apartment because I was so busy touching the doorknob and fixing the rug that I used to have in my front door. I'm doing well, Ahmad. How you doing, brother? Is it Imad? I'm assuming it's Imad. Right. If I miss any of your questions, feel free to ask again. This chat moves pretty quick. Yes. Okay, good. I pronounced it right. It's emotional regulation that helps confront that, right? Confront the OCD. Yeah. So I've just gotten to a point where it's like I'm just tired of it, to be honest. Like the way that it would affect me, and it would dictate my whole day, like impending doom if I don't fucking touch the doorknob 7 times and then blink twice and, fucking fix my doormat perfectly symmetrical, because if not, then, and I'm just like, this is a fucking hellhole. And I was like, and I don't know, man, I just got to a point where it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'd have to tell my brain to shut the fuck up. Shut up. And it does, because I'm the one in control, not my brain, right? When it comes to conscious thought and like anything that has to do with thought patterns, I can reshape that. I'm trying to overcome my OCD is a major issue depending on how bad it is. I'm trying to overcome my OCD issues. Yeah, I mean, some people have it to like really bad. The severity of it is one thing, but the root of it is, in my opinion, it's a trauma response. It's a way of staying in control. And just like panic attacks, which are, in my opinion, in my experience, I'm not even going to say opinion anymore, in my experience, panic attacks are the onset of the fear that you are losing control. OCD, in my experience, I would say my severity was like a 4 out of 10. That is the fear of the same thing of not having control but trying to gain control. And so you have to do these particular things that are just kind of nonsensical to give yourself some sort of security in order to control an outcome, because you aren't innately capable of handling things that come out of nowhere. You're not innately capable of handling, I'm repeating myself now, but so you need to give that power over to these behaviors, when in reality you're the one who's been in control this entire time. You've just been lied to. I have 19 months sobriety and it's really hard. I'm dealing with a relationship crisis. It's real hell right now. Holding on. Keep holding on, Stephanie. And keep trusting your gut, and don't look for an easy way out because it won't ever come. Just look for the right way out. You got to keep your room as it was. I think that could be a form of OCD, but also a preference, to be honest. Like cleanliness. I think it really becomes a problem when it interrupts your behaviors, right? And you become like you're late for work already, or you're about to be late, and you become late because you had to touch the stove knob 7 times before you left the house just to make sure it's off, because what if the 6th time you touch it and you accidentally turned it on? That's unhealthy. It's irrational. What's something you're struggling with right now? Explaining these answers. I'm just kidding. Personally, one of my biggest struggles has been in my whole life this fear of rejection. The fear of rejection has rooted itself in me like very deeply, like to the point where it's like my identity was found in, like I was rejection, right? And so I was this self-fulfilling prophecy. However, I knew I was made for something more. I knew I had more to give this world. I knew I could achieve particular things if I just fucking like tried. And I did. And then I had levels of success that were just like the most rare experience in the entire world. Like less than 0.001% of the entire world's population will ever get to do what I did and work with the people I got to work with on the projects that I got to work on at the capacity that I got to work. And it was literally just me. And so at the end of the day, I was in conflict for so many years because it's like, I know I have more to give, but and I developed this entitlement, which was a protection, it's a safety mechanism to keep me from being rejected, because it was like, well, they should just give it to me because I'm that good. And the truth is, no, they fucking shouldn't. The world doesn't owe you shit. And if you don't ask, you'll never fucking know. But it was my way of protecting myself. And this was a very, very, very difficult truth to come to terms with, when I had to look back on all of my success and all of my failures and then be honest with myself and say, you think people are going to just come out of the woodwork and just give it to you, Darren? And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And so when I realized, after hearing that quote that, nobody's coming to save you, when I realized that, the ball was in my court. And so it's been, since realizing that, it's probably been about 4 years, 5 years maybe. And every now and then, and currently, and I have some opportunities at hand that are life-changing and they're amazing. But I can see that root of rejection, that fear of rejection being like, do I need to say something? And I'm like, no, you played your part. Now get the fuck out of my face. And so for anybody listening, I don't sit here in front of you as this dude who has his shit together. Like, yeah, I have some shit together. But this is an everyday thing. Every fucking day. And so when I talk about this stuff, and, the ebook that I wrote called The Inner Alchemist that talks about all of these limiting beliefs and how to change your life and all this stuff, this is shit that I have to practice every single day. Because what's the alternative? Going back to how I used to live? I hated the way that that I was being tortured psychologically by myself because I wasn't living to my highest potential. And I was making excuses for my life, and I was fucking choosing blindness and bliss until that shit turned sour. And I was like, there's gotta be more. And so now I'm living in the more, and it takes work to stay here. I don't think it's a fear of rejection, but lack of confidence because you made. No, I'm a very confident person. It's a little bit of both, but like ultimately it's fear of rejection. Yeah. So that fear of rejection stabs at that self-confidence for sure. Like I have the confidence, but the moment the opportunity says, okay, show your confidence, it's like, ooh, what if I'm rejected? And so it hits my confidence. You know what I'm saying? Is it normal to be an emotional person? Yeah, I'm very emotional. I cry every day probably. And not just because I'm sad, but because I'm grateful, because I'm happy. I'm a highly emotional person. I think that's how you really live. I think everybody is emotional. Some people allow themselves to feel and some people don't. But we're human. We're made to be emotional. And emotions aren't our punishment. Emotions are our guide in this existence. This is how we feel. This is how we experience love, reality, existence. How do you stop self-rejecting yourself? People can see the potential in us, but we don't trust our own selves. That's exactly what I was describing, something that I face daily, like rejecting myself, knowing that I'm more than capable of helping a particular individual, but sitting there and being like, I shouldn't reach out, right? Or I shouldn't send that email, or, and it's like, what? You know. And so what I do is I recognize the emotion, and then I recognize that it is not true because it is not in the direction. It doesn't help me progress in the direction of what I know I want my life to be. And so when I identify that emotion, I say, okay, I see you. You're trying to keep me safe, but you don't belong here. And the truth is that I need to do this particular action in order to get to where I'm going, because I belong there. Why? Because I'm the creator of my reality, and I know that I'm good at what I do, and I'm only getting better, and I know that I deserve that because it's my birthright. Goodness and happiness are our birthrights. And so when we understand this, we can move in that direction without shame and guilt. And every time a self-rejecting idea pops up, we can remind ourselves of the truth. And the more that you do this, the better you get at it. And the better you get at it, the more you do it, the more you be it, the more you become it. I always say it, but like you have to think, feel, do, and become. And then your brain starts seeing the picture of like, okay, like last time I made the decision to move forward and not reject myself, something good happened. And so the next time that self-rejection pops up, you're going to be less likely to listen to it, and so on and so forth, right? And so there are times that you're going to do something and it's not going to work how you wanted, and you might be tempted to interpret that as rejection. But as corny as it sounds, consider it redirection, right? Or self-examination, a self-examination prompt, right? Maybe you could have done something better, right? And so I know when I first started learning how to do like value-based pricing, this is something huge in the freelancer world and people who work for themselves. You know, typically we like to work for hourly because that's like the industrial mindset, right? And so at the end of the day, forgive me if I'm missing your questions. Feel free to ask them again. I'll try to get to them. At the end of the day, money is only a measure of value, not a measure of time. However, we all have been made to believe, due to the industrial age and basically enslaving people to work for big corporations and as another cog in the machine, it's not set up for you to thrive. It's set up for you to be a cog in the machine, right? That's what kept America going. So anyway, reframing that indoctrination in saying money's not the measure of time, but the measure of value. And so what is the value of the problem that I solve? And who am I solving it for, right? And this was, and I can get more into that at another time, but this was a huge shift in my mentality because I struggled so much with like hourly billing. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm doing this photo shoot for this big company and I'm only getting paid X amount of dollars. And like, you know, they only have or they might be like, yeah, you know, what do you charge or whatever? It's like, well, there's so many different variables to that. But I'm like, well, you know, I'm going to work for this many hours. I'm going to do this many hours. And I'm thinking hourly. And I'm like dying because I'm like, that's like, and you know, when I started my career as a photographer, it was like, that's like 10 grand, you know, like that was a lot of money. And I was just like, I mean, it is a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, at that time, I had never made 10 grand at one time. So it was like, so I was like, no, I can't be like that. Even though what I was doing for them was going to make them $1 million, right? It was going to take their brand to a whole nother level, which was going to generate all kinds of other revenue that I'm not going to see a lick of that, right? So, it's hard to apply in that sense because there's so many standards already in the photography world. But the point that I'm trying to make is that when I started applying this to my consulting, I had companies come to me and they're like, hey, we're a SaaS company and we build software for all this, that, and the other, and we need a consultant. And it's like, okay, what kind of companies are you working for? They're like, well, we got this one job right now. In the first round of investment is $1 million, I think it was. And we really have no strategy. And so I knew in my head, I'm like, strategy is everything. And if I help this individual with strategy, they're going to get another round of investment and they're going to blow up. It's going to work. And so I'm probably going to make these people in the next 5 years over $100 million. So I'm not going to charge them $500, right? And so, yeah, there's no guarantee. There's all these variables or whatever. And that's a different point. But it's like the strategies that I have are proven strategies for other brands. It's like you're not just taking a shot in the dark when it comes to me and what I do. So like at the end of the day, I was like, okay, cool. Let's agree on 2%, right? Can we agree on like a percentage? So it's like 2% or something like that. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I understood it to a degree. I understood that it made sense, but I never knew how to apply this in business because I had never done it. I was too busy charging hourly. So this is where I fucked up. And this is where when you set out to stop rejecting yourself and start taking risks, you're going to make mistakes, but you have to make these mistakes and it will feel like it is the last fucking mistake you could have ever made. And there's never going to be a fucking opportunity like this again and you fucked it all up. That's not true. It's going to feel like that. It's not true. You just have to keep going. You just have to keep going, right? And so the way I fucked it up is I said a percentage that was just outrageous. And I just gauged the whole conversation wrong. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know what I did in my past. All they heard was this big number and they're like, this guy's out the door. And fuck this guy. I don't even care anymore. Like, he sounds greedy. So I did it in a way that was like not tactful at all. Lesson learned. But when you're setting out to do things and take risks so that you can succeed in the times that you don't succeed, it is not a failure. It is a learning experience so that when you do succeed, you can sustain the success. Do you understand me? This is important for everybody to understand. When you are making decisions, right? When you are taking risks to succeed and not avoiding risk because you might fail, there will be times where you don't succeed at what you're trying to accomplish, but do not consider it failure. Consider it a lesson learned and make sure you learn that lesson because that is the lesson that you're going to need to sustain your success when it comes. Tattoo that on your forehead. I wish I knew that. I fucking wish I knew that early on. So, all right, let me see. What other questions do we have? Why is the world so fucked up? People have lost their connection to God. And they try to play God instead of, they try to live as God and not live with God. Well, I get mocked being emotional. Sorry to hear that, but it's not a weakness. It's a gift. Just learn how to manage your emotions or else you will be a slave to them. And then being emotional sucks. Books you recommend: Psycho-Cybernetics and The Four Agreements. Yeah. How to find balance in empathy so I don't keep putting myself out trying to care for everybody around me. Be more empathetic towards you than you are anyone else. Even if it makes you feel bad. Because the truth is, if you're not loving yourself and your cup is not full, how the fuck are you going to help anyone else? If you're barely keeping afloat and you're drowning, how the fuck are you going to help anybody else swim? You can barely breathe. Get your ass up on the fucking boat, grab a life raft, and throw that shit down.
Stop sacrificing yourself for the sake of someone else's success. No, you're not doing anybody a fucking favor, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to sink and drown, and yeah, they might get 10 feet ahead of you, but guess what? They still don't have what the fuck they need, and they're going to drown. Don't do that. You didn't want to invent something and sell for millions? Oh, dude, I have ideas. You have no idea. I'm a fucking idea machine. It's insane. And that's the thing. It's like, anyway, thinking about talking to investors and sharing my ideas and sharing these things, it's like, yeah. And so it's not even just to make millions. Like, that's nice and all, but it's like to provide freedom for the life that I want to live and my family, and, you know, and also to build brands and execute on my ideas. It's like, hell yeah, I still want to do all that stuff, because at my heart, I'm an artist. I'm an artist, but my nature is human. And so as an artist, I create. As a human, I connect. And so if I can build my career around connecting and helping people connect with themselves and others, then that will make room for my creativity and to express freely and live wholeheartedly. Because I was spending too much time trying to do it the other way around, to create and then connect. And, you know, maybe there's ways to do that. I don't know. It just wasn't working for me. And so I think I'm more alive when I'm doing the connecting. It's like you can buy a beautiful lamp, but it's when you turn it on. It needs to be placed somewhere to turn on, right? And so like my career as a consultant and a coach is like I'm being what I'm made to be. But when I'm working as a coach, when I'm working with people one-on-one, and I'm expressing myself as an artist and a creative, that's when I'm bright. That's when I'm shining. That's when I'm fulfilling. It's all in one, you know? So I love lamp. Okay, sorry. Okay, I gotta go, exhausted too. Would you say it's bad to lose people close to you if it means resulting in better outcomes for you and your future, even if... Yes. All right, I'm scrolling all the way down to the bottom. Sorry, guys, I'm way behind. What's the latest question? Hey, how are you? Good. What happens when I've hit all my goals? I've been at very lows and highs, yet nothing gives me drive anymore. It truly feels like I've gone cold. In that sense, it sounds like you've lost your why. Why are you doing any of it? And if your why isn't strong enough, you'll feel weak, because your why is the back that you ride on that sustains everything. Your why is the back that holds the world of your purpose. And if you don't have a strong why, your world will feel empty. There will be a void there. It'll be meaningless. Nothing will be held. Everything will feel fleeting and weak and like you're losing everything. Meaningless, essentially. How to know, I don't know if that answered your question, but how to know that you have found the right person for you. I'm glad you guys got that I love lamp joke. So, me and my wife are 10 years apart, and she doesn't get some jokes that I say because apparently 10 years is a fucking big ass leap. She laughs anyways because she's so kind. But now I think every time I say a joke, I'm like, are people gonna get that? But I forget my audience is actually like my age and a little bit older. Actually, no, my audience is like, no, it's like, I think it's like 35 to 45. I don't fucking know. I don't remember. Anyway, what about your X-axis? What do you mean? If you guys are truly interested in what I'm talking about, limiting beliefs, belief systems in general, and how they run your everyday life and create the reality that you live in, that you call your life, check out, just download my ebook. It's $5. It's totally free, but $5. Just kidding. But look, don't waste your money if you're not serious. If you're just going to if you want to spend the $5, cool, I'll take your money. I don't care. I'll buy a latte or something. Just kidding. I don't drink lattes. Tacos. I'll buy a taco. But take it serious. If you take it serious, if you read through this and you apply these practices, there's like inner child work in there, there's prompts, there's practices that you can do that'll help you dig deep and help you unveil some heavy shit that has been holding you back and help you reshape that to beliefs that will help you versus hinder you. If you're serious about it, check it out. Anyway, the link is in my bio. Just hit that link. It's called The Inner Alchemist. Good to know. Thank you. But what if... Hold on. Whoops. But what if that's why is gone now and just feel disconnected from like everything, yourself, your family, your friends, reality as a whole? I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. But what if that's why is gone now? Can you say that again? Does the universe conspire for us? I believe that the universe is neutral. The laws of the universe are neutral. I believe we have a God-given... I believe there's a God that has created this universe that we live in. And I believe that we are created in that image of that God and likeness. Therefore, we have the ability to have intention and make choices and decisions, right? Because God is love and love is freedom, not control, we are able to set intention within the laws of the universe that if our intention is this way, then the laws of the universe will move that way. If our intention is this way, the universe will move you in the direction of your beliefs, of your intentions. Your beliefs will dictate your intentions. For instance, if you don't believe plants can feel your energy and hear your words and know your intentions without you even saying anything, you will do things that will hinder the life of your plant, right? And this is all real shit. Like, this has been studied and measured and everything. Plants can feel your intentions and plants communicate. This is all actual fucking science. And so look up the dude who invented the polygraph. I think that's what it's called, the lie detector machine. I think he's like the first dude who realized that plants can understand your intentions. And he learned that because he hooked a polygraph. Anyway, just look it up. It'll blow your fucking mind. But if you don't believe that your intentions matter, then you will behave like they don't. And you'll be denying the very fabric of reality, and therefore reality will, well, deny you, in a sense. But if you do believe this, and whatever it is that you believe that is based in science, which some of this mystical, whimsical, woo-woo shit is actually scientific. And so if you do this research, you understand the brain, you understand, I would even say, look in the Bible, like the actual scriptures in the Bible and the shit that they were saying and all the fulfilled prophecies. I mean, hundreds of these things, like science-backed things that these people were talking about thousands of years ago, that science is now saying, oh yeah, it's a little like this. And so at the end of the day, when you understand this, you can understand that there's something more going on and that there's obviously laws in place that they're neutral. It's like a gift for us to use. And we utilize the laws of the universe by understanding how they work. So, yes, this live will be available for playback as soon as I'm done, both here on Instagram and on YouTube. When I said you feel a disconnect from reality, I'm still not sure. What if your why isn't there, meaning as to your last statement? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're asking still. When I said you feel it. Yeah, like if you don't have a why, a solid why, like why you do what you do, there's going to be a void. It's going to feel very empty. And though you might get some sort of satisfaction from whatever it is that you're doing, it's not fulfilling. And so it's easy to achieve levels of success and certain levels of status and things in life that people are like, oh, this is what success is. And then you get there and then you're like, this sucks. Nothing's really changed. And now I'm like, I feel detached because it's kind of traumatic, to be honest. And so that trauma response is like you need to detach because you don't know from reality, because you don't know where to go within reality to find grounding, because your why is not strong enough. And so for me, my why is Jesus. And not the Jesus that you probably think about when I say it, like, oh, this corny Christian fucking guy on the internet. No. But the historical evidence of this dude named Yeshua that lived, who was the very God of the universe incarnate to show us, this is the gospel, to show us how to live as humans connected to this God that made us for a relationship, for this whole experience. And so I'm placing my bets on this guy, and the historical evidence of his resurrection. Not just some dude who lived and died, no, but there's some dude who lived and died and came back to life to prove his love, the love of this force, this God that we talk about. Not the universe. The universe is something created beyond that. And so that is my why for everything that I do. That is my why for being, for existing. And so for me, I find purpose in the things that I do, but my why, my meaning is to be connected to, I believe, to be connected to God and to live in such a way that others might find that very same connection. That's it for me. And I just so happen to be able to do that through my career as a coach and an artist. I express and I help other people find their identities. And I don't preach or any of that shit, and I don't try to make people believe what I believe. I don't at all. But as for myself, this is why I do what I do. And I have agnostic clients, atheist clients, Muslim clients, you name it. So when you don't have a why, you have nothing to ground you in reality, in this current reality in which we live. So it's very easy to disassociate and become numb, because it's a trauma response. And I felt this way, even believing what I believe, right? And so experiences have happened where I would feel like, I feel like I have it all, but I feel like I'm not even here. And it's like, okay, what is it that your brain is having a problem or trouble processing that's causing you to disassociate? So I look into it and say, all right, like, I'm afraid of this, or I'm afraid of that, or maybe this happened and my brain's getting triggered here, and like whatever that is, right? And you have to do that inner work and dig deep. But there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. Don't ever believe that lie. And the only people who are broken are people who, no, I don't want to say that because I feel like that would be disrespectful. Is the inner work constant? Yes, it's constant. But it's evolving. Like it's not like a constant nag. It's like it's a melody. It's hopefully your melody doesn't sound like that, because it sounds like a horrible game show. But that's what it is. The inner work is like this. It's melodic, and a lot of times we don't want to do it because like, oh my God, it's going to be tedious and just repetitive over and over. Got to keep repeating. No, because if you're doing the true inner work, it's like, oh, I'm facing this challenge. Oh, I figured out why. Ba. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm facing another challenge. I figured out why. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, shit. Ba, boom, boom, boom. Okay. Ba, boom, boom, boom. And now your life becomes a musical musication. I don't know. I just wanted to make up a word, but I think you understand what I'm saying. But when you look at doing inner work as this thing that's just going to be like, I'm going to fuck up and then I'm going to have to work on that. I'm going to fuck up and then I'm going to have to work on that. And I'm just always going to be fucking up and I'm going to have to work on something. It's like, nah, you're always going to be getting better, striking new chords, learning new things, growing. And eventually you have been doing inner work for so long that you'll reach a place that you're no longer doing inner work. You're just not doing the same kind of inner work that you were doing at the beginning. And you'll notice people fall out of your life. You'll notice things in your life change, but it will always be for the better. Will there be pain? Absolutely. It sucks when people leave your life, and it sucks when you no longer associate with people that you really cared about at one point. But it also sucks to still be in that same place that you were when they were in your life. It's like when you get with somebody and like you guys are best friends, and then you're just hanging out all the time, everything's great, and then you start waking up realizing, man, they did real negative. You start learning things about yourself and how you want to be, and then it starts showing you how they're not that anymore, and then you're like, fuck, like I'm kind of like over here now. And like they're like, dude, where are you going? Like, what are you on, some self-help shit? And you're like, yeah, well, yeah, but like I also don't like gossiping every time we hang out. It's like, we're not gossiping, dude, we're just da-da-da-da-da. But like, you know, in your gut, like that shit ain't working. And then some other shit like you're going through, like you're doing inner work, and then you realize some shit and you're growing, and then they're refusing to grow and do any inner work, and then you grow and you do more inner work and you grow it, and eventually they're like, and you think you're better than us, and then you're like, no, no, and then you kind of feel bad because they're at a different place than you, at a lower frequency, and so you feel like, am I looking down on them? And at first you might even act like it. Some people do, some people don't. But you like, do I think I'm better than them? Is something wrong with me? And then you start realizing, no, I'm just not there anymore. I don't think the way that I used to think when I used to hang out with them. So when I try to come back down here, it's like a magnet, you know, the repelling side of a magnet. It's like, yeah, I can do it, but like, it's not okay. It's not right. It doesn't fit. There's something wrong here. And I know it's not me. Because if it was, I have been doing the inner work to realize if it was me. Because I do that all around my life here. And the truth is, in most cases, when you lose people in your life because of your growth and their stagnation, you feel bad about it at first. And of course, you don't go back and be like, you're stagnant and you don't want to grow and you're whack and I don't fuck with your vibes anymore. Of course not. No, like fucking pray for them or something, you know? And like you can associate with them here and again, like, but you have to know your limits. You have to know how long you can hang out with them, what kind of conversations you can have, what to expect in conversations, so on and so forth. But it can be a very difficult thing. But whatever you do, do not avoid growth because other people refuse to grow. Do not avoid growth just because other people you care about in your life are choosing stagnation. Don't do that. True friends get inspired. That's when magic happens sometimes. I love the sometimes. Because at the end of the day, true friends will support you and they'll notice your growth and they'll congratulate you and they will praise that in you. If the people you call friends are reluctant to praise you when you succeed at something, you might want to reconsider their title in your life. People don't usually like it when you win more than they do, especially if you're winning at something that they always wanted to do but have been too afraid to do themselves. They particularly don't like that. And so, I mean, I've had situations where that was the case. And it's just like, God, your motives are so fucking clear. Bro, I'm at my lowest. Please, some advice. Learn where you're at. Here's the thing. When we hit a rock bottom, it's usually filled with all the reasons why we hit that rock bottom. You see, when you're not at rock bottom, you're standing, you're good, like the floor on you is great, and you're taking things in life and you're stacking them on all around you. And then when you hit rock bottom, what happens is all that shit caves in. Bam. And you fall and you fucking smack the floor. And it's messy and nasty and dirty and painful and dark. So what you need to do, instead of sitting there moping and fucking crying, yes, cry. Crying is good for you. It sucks. It hurts. Get it all out of your system. But what you need to do, instead of just staying there and being a fucking victim and being like, what the fuck did I get? Oh, I guess this is my life. I'm such a fucking failure. And just beating yourself up. No. Maybe for like 5 minutes, okay? Because we all do. But don't fucking stay there. Here's what you need to do. You need to get up, let your eyes adjust, and you need to look around you and say, what caused me to have this fall? Look around you. because it's all the heavy shit that you shouldn't have been carrying that brought you there, that made you the floor give way from under you, that led you to a rock bottom. But if you don't pay attention to that shit, you will constantly play victim, screaming for help, and you'll just keep repeating that shit. And yeah, somebody might throw you a fucking rope and enable you and bring you out of that hole, and then you're gonna be like, great, and guess what? You're gonna do it all again because you didn't learn what caused you to be in that dark place in the first place. So it's imperative to look around you, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to require you to take 1,010% responsibility for your life and the reason you are where you are, and say, okay, what can I do now? What got me here? Was it me people pleasing all the time? Was it me trying to get into a relationship because I was avoiding my emotions? Was it like, what is it? What is it? Why am I here again? Well, fucking look at your fucking actions. What have you been doing? And be so, this is the problem with most people, is that they want to be brutally honest with everyone else except themselves. They'll just kind of be vaguely honest with themselves. But unless you are brutally honest with yourself, with grace, with understanding, with compassion, with no judgment, that's the first step to getting out of a dark place. Because the fact of the matter is, you most likely got yourself there. Now, I'm not speaking for people who are in a dark place because they lost a loved one or, something catastrophic happened. That's a completely different story. I'm talking about people that have just made poor decisions their life and refuse to acknowledge those poor decisions and just think like, well, I was doing my best. Okay, yeah, that doesn't mean that your best wasn't a poor decision. I've done my best and I've hurt people before. That doesn't fucking matter. It's like, obviously your best was a poor decision because look where you're at. So it's very hard. That is a very hard thing to come to terms with. It's a very hard thing to understand. I hope you find that peace. This is coming from somebody who has been in some very dark places. And it wasn't until I looked at myself and thought, God damn, this is all my fault. And let me rephrase that. God damn, this is my fault and my responsibility. Because some of the things weren't my fault. Like my dad getting with a woman after my mom left him who abused the fuck out of me for like 20 years. That wasn't my fault. But it is my responsibility to heal from that pain and to not project that onto my daughter, onto my wife, onto my family. But most people want to be in a dark place and say they're the victim. No. Just because I'm just going to say this. Just because you are victimized doesn't make you a victim. What makes you a victim is the choices you make. You either choose to be a victim or not. You know that corny saying, I'm not a victim, I'm a victor. It's fucking true. The same thinking won't help you get to a different place, 1,000%. All of this stuff that I'm talking about, you guys, it's very simple. It is not easy to do. That should never be your excuse not to do something, just because it's not easy. And it requires a lifetime of work. And like I said before, doing inner work isn't just like something you do one time and that's it. You don't just work with a coach one time and that's it. Oh yeah, we worked together for a few months and then back to my old ways. No, you guys, this shit, if you work with a good coach, they will equip you with the right tools to take the reins of your own life and make these things a practice and a lifestyle. Because like I said before, what's the alternative? You're either growing or festering. And so I think of life, like an individual's life, like like some sort of flower that it can bloom into this beautiful thing, or sometimes flowers don't come to full bloom and they die before that. And it's for whatever reason. Maybe they have some sort of pest on them that's preventing them from growing or whatever. And humans are like this. It's like they're born and then they have some sort of psychological pest that keeps them from blooming. And others do something about that pest and grow, right? And bloom. Most people don't. Most people just be like, this is my lot in life. Like, I guess I'm not going to be a fucking sunflower like I thought. That's only for those sunflowers over there, not me, because, well, you see, I have a lot of trauma and I was raised like this. It's like, if you don't realize that that's what you're choosing, like that is your actual choice, you'll stay that way. And I'm speaking from experience. Me and my dad, like I always knew like there's got to be something more. What differentiates me from that guy? Like if he has this and I don't, like, but I want that. Like, what is the difference here? We're both human. We both bleed the same. What is it? And it's like the mentality. It's like, okay, so what in my mentality is keeping me from having what he has? You know what I'm saying? You are too near. Am I really? Is my mic that? Is it too loud? Because I've been having problems with this mic being too low. What about now? Are we good? But anyway, at the end of the day, what are you going to choose to be? Somebody who examines themselves and tries to be better, or somebody who blames everyone else and stays the same? The choice is up to you. If you need help with this, I highly recommend that you go download my ebook called The Inner Alchemist. It will help you with this. That's only if you're serious about making that change and taking responsibility for your life and why it is the way it is. So with that said, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to be getting off of here in just a minute. It is 11:33 here in Los Angeles, and I'm ready to go to bed. So where are we at? Also, I'll be uploading this to YouTube as well. So if you guys want to go watch that over there, if you want to listen to it like a podcast, feel free. If you weren't here for this whole live session, you can always watch it on playback. And yeah, just pop some headphones in and listen to it like a podcast while you scrub the toilet or make a bowl of cereal or make a bowl of cereal while scrubbing the toilet. Don't do that. That'd be weird. Or do it, make a TikTok video about it and go viral. Just kidding. All right. What do we got? Morning, brother. What's up, man? Like, one thing is when people have control over you and use you, but you change, but they still see you as the same person no matter, even if your ways have changed, how to change their attitude towards. You don't change anybody's attitude. You change your attitude towards those people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's, like, I experienced that, and it was very jarring. I hadn't hung out with my old friends in like over 2 years, and I had done so much inner work where it was like I was not the same person. I ended a 7-year relationship that was absolutely devastating for me, and then shortly after, I found out one of my best friends died, and then shortly after that, or before that, I had no money, I had no following, I had no opportunities. I was dead in the fucking water. And I got myself through all of this shit. Me and a couple of my friends. I had maybe like 2 or 3 friends that I could call. And I was at the lowest place in my life. And I get through it, and I see all these old friends that had no idea what I was going through. And like, you know, yeah, I could be like, oh, they could have reached out, but like I could have reached out too, you know? But I didn't, but whatever. And then I see them years later, and then like they're still talking to me like I'm that same person. And then I start noticing things that they're saying in conversation, how rude it is, and just like dismissive and insecure. And I'm like seeing all of these things that are happening, and I'm just like, how do I deal with this? I want nothing to do with this. And I felt sad because it was like, dang, some of my friends, my old friends, they're still repeating the same fucking shit over and over again. And it's been so many years. And then I'm like, do I think I'm better than them? Like, you know? And I was like, no. And it's just that I didn't understand I didn't know how to approach that, right? So when you start doing work on yourself and you start changing and growing, there is going to be a massive disconnect between you and most people. And that's okay. But you need to understand that not everyone is on your journey. As long as you are on your journey, you'll be just fine. And if you can understand that they're on their own, whether that journey is them choosing to repeat their own shit over and over again or not, that's up to them. And you have to leave that to them. And it breaks my heart sometimes, but at the end of the day, I hope they find their way. And if they ever need my advice or my perspective, then cool, yeah, I'll give it to you. But I'm not going to live in this place of like they're my enemy because they're choosing to live on their journey. But I also am not going to, I have no desire to spend my time amongst them because, well, there's such a disconnect of understanding, right? Yeah, I guess understanding is the word. And so when they start moping and bitching and moaning about shit and looking for somebody to like just, oh, it's okay, about things that are their fault or whatever it is, it's just like, I want to be around people who are self-empowered, who are empowering, who are moving forward, who are like, I'm going through this shit and like, I'm ready to figure this out. Tell me what you think because I'm fucking up here. Like, let's do this. Progressive minds. And most people don't have progressive minds. They have comfortable minds. So pick your environment because it will affect your growth. You can only grow to the extent of the health of your environment. It's like turtles, they put turtles in a tank and like they can only grow so big until you give them a bigger environment, right? My sister had complete control over me for most of my childhood years until I felt like there's something wrong with me when I'm like 21, and I finally realized I have bipolar disorder when I'm 25, and I'm a different person now, but she still treats me the same, so I completely isolated myself from her. She didn't give you bipolar disorder. Bipolar, nobody can give you bipolar. It is a byproduct of trauma or some sort of other chemical imbalance due to childhood. And my experience with it, not personally, but observationally, and very close friends and people that I've known and worked with, it is traumatic. It is a trauma response. It is a way to manage your reality to a degree, or the lack of that understanding. But the last thing you ever want to do is say, you made me feel this way, or you gave me this thing, unless it's an STD, then, well, at the end of the day, you kind of, unless they lied to you, you kind of chose. Let's be realistic. Let's take radical fucking responsibility for our lives, Very much easier said than done. However, be careful how you speak to yourself about yourself, because your subconscious mind takes everything literally. Don't believe me? Think about a lemon. Really visualize a lemon. Just don't even look at the screen anymore. Just pay attention to my voice and close your eyes and envision a lemon. Think about a lemon. Bright fucking juicy yellow lemon. And now imagine taking a huge bite out of that lemon, just straight through the skin. Just a huge bite right now. Most people that are normal, no, I'm just kidding. Most people will feel a sensation in their jaw, like a tingling sensation. Their mouth might water, some sort of sensation to something that is not even actually happening in this reality. So your physical body is responding to something that's happening in your imagination in a different plane of existence. And so when we speak about ourselves, when we speak to ourselves about ourselves in a negative light, your subconscious says, yeah, I'm a victim. That person did this to me. This did this and that and that. And I'm a victim. And so you stay stuck, because as long as the responsibility of your life is in the hands of somebody else, you will always be stuck. Because the truth is, the responsibility has always been in your hands. And until you realize that, you'll never break free, because you're not realizing that you've had the key in your pocket this whole time. And you've been spending all of this time pointing at the other person, being like, you stole my keys, just because you couldn't find them. So dig a little deeper, search a little harder, and I guarantee you'll find that all the answers and keys that you need to your life being the way that you want it to be are already in your pockets. But what if I'm naked, Darren, then put some fucking clothes on? Mystic man, I'm sorry I don't do requests. I forgot who you are and why I'm following you. I'm just a guy who thinks he knows everything on the internet. Just kidding. I don't know everything. Yeah, not everything. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Really appreciate you. Thank you all for being here. If you want to watch the playback, I'll have it up. I'll also have it up on my YouTube. And don't forget to check out my ebook called The Inner Alchemist. It's all about our belief systems and the way that they shape our current realities and how to change them. Like I said, it's not for the faint of heart, so don't get it. Don't spend the $5 if you're not willing to change, or do. I don't care. But start there. My problem was pushing people away out of protection to not go through past experiences again, and different people causing me to overthink the little things. I mean, yeah. So the issue with that is that you probably don't trust yourself. You push everybody away because you don't trust them, because in order to trust other people, you have to have self-trust, right? And so at first in life, you don't realize this, so you just trust people, and then you get hurt, and you're like, why would somebody do that? I would never do that to somebody. Why would they do that to me? And so you have to ask yourself, okay, well, they did it. It happened. And what am I going to do now? Curl up in a ball? No. I need to trust people. Okay, so how do I do that? By trusting myself to handle them when they break my trust. All right, you guys. I love you. Thank you. Appreciate you. This has been a wonderful live. It has gone way longer than I expected. 92 minutes. Take care of yourself. And if you want to know more information about me, if you want to work with me one-on-one, hit the link in my bio. And there's everything you need to know. And if not, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about working together. Until then, eat your vegetables. I'm just projecting at this point because I need to eat my vegetables. All right. Good night, you guys.